English Teacher have released their debut album on Island Records. That album is called This Could Be Texas.
Could
What
be
could be Texas?
this.
This could be Texas. Correct. Um, English Teacher are a band that has been on our radar for quite some time. Since 2021, would you believe?
Oh,
We're old. When the original version and superior version, no spoiler, of
Spoiler.
R&B was released. Yeah,
big
big
old
spoiler.
spoiler.
Big spoiler. I remember listening to it on BBC Radio 6 when I was in my full wanker stage doing the pots. Simpler time.
We know what that
When you were
means,
doing the
Cal.
pot.
I've got a dishwasher now, so I don't do the pots anymore. Anyway, again, I wasn't doing the pot. I was genuinely doing the pots. No, straight laced.
But later
Yeah,
what?
this album. This album is it's an
Long,
album.
It's a bit long.
It's long. It's long.
Would you say it's necessary, boys?
I would say
Oh.
I would say it's necessary, but I'd say it has a few flaws.
Phew.
Just a few. I think they've got some very good songs on here, but as Liam mentioned, it's just a bit too long. There's no need for it to be 50 minutes. There's a lot of slower songs on here that don't do enough to warrant the extra time.
Yep.
And I don't think they're placed in necessarily great areas. There's a run. I think it's The Best Tears of Your Life, You Blister My Paint, and Side Boob, which are all slow songs leading up to Albert Road, the closer, which is another slow song. No need for 4 slow songs in a row. Pacing problem is rife, and I do think that lets the side down. If they cut a few of them, saying that, The Best Tears of Your Life, I really like that song. There's a good use of auto tune in that, which Yanni, I'm sure you loved when you heard it for the one and only time you've probably listened to the album. But I just think they don't get their chance to.
It doesn't feel like they put the best foot forward.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I just don't think
No,
that.
that's what me and Liam would say.
Then what would you say?
I wouldn't. I would say, yeah, it just feels a bit like a collection of tracks. It doesn't feel completely cohesive to me. I will say, and I think part of that might be the order. I do think there's a few kind of a bit in a bit of a random place. Does feel a bit longer than it needs to be. I think one of the main things for me that really is making it hard for me to kind of enjoy it and really kind of sink into it is, and this is just a personal thing, and I mean this, I'm trying to not be offensive in any manner. I just don't quite like the sound of her voice. It just doesn't resonate with me very well at all. And there are times when it's not really an issue, and there are times where it kind of really stands out. World's Biggest Paving Star was one that kind of bothers me a little bit in that respect.
Wow, that's a take.
Vocally. But yeah, I mean, there's some great bass lines, there's some great musicianship throughout, there's some very interesting moments, there's some very dull moments, likewise. Kind of just slow. I listened to it for the first time in the car, and it was fine for the journey, but not a single part of it stood out to me while I was driving, whatsoever. I think that's kind of the best real-life example of how this album affects me or doesn't affect me. I can give.
What I was trying to say before with the 4 slow songs in a row, 2 of my favourite songs on this album are Mastermind Specialism, which is a slow song, and Best Tears of Your Life, which I mentioned previously. The other slow songs don't give them the 2 that I said I like the moment to shine, because they kind of feel lost within the rest of them. That's what I was trying to say, and I still don't really think I've said how I want to say it.
Yeah, it's kind of oversaturated with slows and kind of
Bingo.
this kind of song that they don't stand up. I mean, I think Mastermind Specialism does because of its placement. The Best Tears of Your Life and just that whole last chunk is very just one note.
I think it could have gone from Best Tears of Your Life to Albert Road, and that would have been probably better.
That'd be a great choice.
43 minutes, 42 minutes that would be. preferable. Other than that, I think World's Biggest Paving Slab is a great track.
Not for me.
Yeah, I don't remember the original version, which I think you both mentioned you preferred. I don't know if that rings
For a
true
long
or
time ago, yeah. I don't
I can't
Yeah.
remember now.
okay, brilliant. I also really like I'm Not Crying, You're Crying. Really repetitive, quite incessant. Really like
So
that.
with that one, I like the last part of it where it sort of gets heavy and
Mm-hmm.
a bit more going on. But the repetitive nature of the first half of it, it just annoys me.
Oh, that's fair enough.
It's a bit too much of the whole Spretzgesang
It's
thing going
very
on.
dry cleaning.
Yeah.
It also
Yeah.
sounds very Smithsy. There's this. What's that song? The song that Hand in Glove. Sounds very Hand in Glove at the beginning, I think. But particularly, it does sound very dry cleaning, for sure.
Another standout for me is Nearly Daffodils. We would have covered that when it was a single probably, but don't remember liking it as much as I do now. Talking of dry
Bass is great
cleaning,
on that.
bass is great on that. Talking of dry cleaning, I've been reading a lot of indie heads at the Reddit,
Oh, save
and
yourself.
I've and I've seen people compare this album to Dry Cleaning, as you said, and Black Country New Road.
It's somewhere in between, I think. There's a
I got a little bit of oh my god, courting vibes from some of the songs, and the way the vocals were sort of delivered.
Was it that you didn't like the songs?
No, I meant like the sort of way she goes about singing certain things gave. It's giving courting.
Oh, I hate that.
But
I definitely see
yeah,
the dry cleaning and the second Black Country album, Black Country New
Mm.
Road album, especially, but only like in the way that kind of all music does, which actually is a kind of a boring negative to a lot of modern music, is it's all very kind of what is that genre like some extension of post punk in the modern age. It's also touching on classical in some weird way. You know that every artist seems to be doing, I suppose.
Mm.
There's songs like I kind of like Broken Biscuits because that feels quite unique and quite like what I think of English teacher as sounding from like earlier stuff. But I don't know if I'm making that up. But a lot of the other stuff just feels a little bit derivative, I think, of a lot of other stuff.
We mentioned it again when it was released as a single, but I can understand why they changed the version of R&B. Does definitely fit the tone of the album more, but I still really don't like how it sounds now, which is a shame.
to be honest with you, I haven't revisited the original version of R&B in however long, but so I can't really. That comparison means nothing to me anymore. Like I don't really know what it sounds like.
At
So
this point, same, yeah.
it
Fair
doesn't
enough.
mean anything.
At the
That
time
still
when it
gets,
came out, I mean, we made our comments at the time, and I would stand
Yeah.
by those. However, yeah, I've now only
Mm.
listened to this version for a little while, so
Fair
I
enough.
do think
still...
it doesn't. It feels flatter than like my.
Mm.
If I was to imagine the song, I
Yeah,
probably
it's just a
just
bit
couldn't imagine
lackluster,
it.
a bit
Yeah.
more refined, but I feel like it loses its edge and enjoyment.
Yeah, I feel like most of the songs on the album don't really have an edge.
Mm. Spherical,
Yes.
Wow.
very spherical. I can't imagine either of you two are in a position to rate this album.
No, not fairly.
I would be floating between a 6 and a 7. A 6 seems extremely harsh because I have listened to it and I have enjoyed it, but I also don't see myself going back to it now we've reviewed it, which is a shame. I've added a few of the tracks to my playlist, and that'll probably be the extent of it if I'm being completely honest. But yeah,
It feels
if
like
you've listened,
sorry. Fault going. Feels like a bit of a shame. It's not shame. It's English.
Not shame.
To think of it as being somewhat on the poorer side, I suppose. Because I feel like lead singer and I assume lyricist is obviously very talented lyricist. There's some great good lyrics throughout the whole album. Some good lyrics. I wouldn't say incredible. There's definitely like some moments where I think like that, but there's it's poetry in action. Which feel like you've always got to give a kind of a nod to that. It's a unique way of writing lyrics, and then musically the band are very good.
Band are extremely good. Yeah.
So it just feels like a bit of a. I feel like they maybe with a better producer. I don't know who produced this, so I don't mean to be just throwing strays out left, right, and centre.
A more fitting producer.
Maybe just with a different producer.
Yeah.
They could be pushed to do something a bit more interesting. But I mean, this might be exactly what they were going for, and there you go. It just falls a bit flat, really, for this band that's been so kind of hyped for so long.
Marta Salogni.
Yeah, I've just
Black Midi, Depeche Mode, MIA. I'm genuinely surprised.
Which
no, I was gonna say,
Black Midi album? Do you know? Does it say?
No. I was genuinely gonna say, I'm surprised James Ford hasn't had his little mitts over this album. But James Ford did work with this producer on the latest Depeche Mode album, which wasn't very good.
And that's been the review of This Could Be Texas.
I think it was Cavalcade, Liam.
Yeah, no, I just found that out.
And Hellfire.
That makes sense to me, because I think that kind of they sound similar to this album. I feel there's a flatness. I think it works in Black Midi's favour though, because there's so much going on, but it kind of stifles English Teacher a little bit. Who might say that?
Just a boy. Thank you for listening, and let us know your thoughts, because me and Liam together don't have enough of them. So leave a like if you want, subscribe, ding the bell. There'll be plenty of reviews out, plenty of stuff going on all over the channel. Very overwhelmed. Goodbye.
Bedtime.